Guys, so in today's video we're going to talk about how a simple idea, a simple swing thought can make a massive improvement immediately to your golf. Let's get stuck into it. So sometimes when we're playing golf we just need a real simple swing thought just to help us make that bit of a difference. And I was really struggling watching Martin continue this round of golf where he was just creeping more and more sort of open to compensate for this over the top type of motion. And you know, there was just huge inconsistency coming. So we had a bit of a chat and had a little bit of a debrief and discussed a bit of an idea of the way in which I would like him to try and hit the golf ball. Now, for you guys at home, we're trying to always do two things essentially. We're trying to blend rotational movement with arm movement. And what was happening with Martin is that the rotational motion was kind of there, but the problem was the arms weren't. The arms were coming too much out in front of him, which were making him swing too much across the ball. So what we tried was a bit more of a feeling of trying to focus our attention instead of like internal in terms of like thinking about swing thoughts, tried to bring a little bit more of his attention to like an external focus. So the first thing that we did is we got him doing a couple of practice swings where he would align himself towards the target, but then I wanted him to get the feeling like he was swinging more to the right of that target. Now if you sort of imagined a clock face, you've got kind of 1, 2 and 3 o'clock, the feeling was he was trying to swing the club somewhere in between that sort of 1 and 2 o'clock position. Now when you start focusing on the through swing, which is this area here, it's obviously going to have an influence on the downswing. So what will happen is if you guys have a similar trait to Martin, instead of thinking about the start of the downswing, if you start thinking more about where you're trying to release and if you like throw the club and extend the club more to the right of the target, then what you'll find is the club will naturally have more of a tendency to drop down here. And that's what we need. We need this arm sort of straightening more to the side of his body to help give him a chance to swing more towards that right hand side. Now the issue every amateur has, and the issue Martin has, is because he'd been swinging this way and massively over the top, obviously when he was hitting the ball the club face was too open. So not only did he need to get the feeling of swinging the arm more towards the right of the target, but we also needed to get the feeling of closing the club face. And by just kind of doing a few little practice swings, particularly sort of one hand only whilst we were waiting for the group in front of us, what started to happen as the round progressed is things got a lot better, a lot quicker. And when he sort of combined the idea of keeping the head still, instead of allowing his head to move like this, and again this is encouraging that over the top move and encouraging the club to swing too much to the left, once we sort of convinced him to keep that head a bit stiller and really feel like he was extending his arms more away from the body, then again things started to look better and also the results started to improve dramatically as well. So I would suggest for you guys that you can take out of this video is a couple of things. If you are somebody who has really been struggling with an over the top tendency, then start to focus a little bit more of your attention on an external basis. So similar to what I did with Martin, start to focus on where your target is, but try and get a feeling that you're trying to swing the club more to the right of that target whilst closing the face. The sort of thought of that alone will have an influence on the actual shape of the swing. Other feelings that I would suggest would be really beneficial, whether it's feedback so you know whether you're doing it right or wrong or improving, is a couple of things. Similar to Martin keeping the head still, but the other thing is you should probably feel like you're a lot higher in the finish. So if you imagine I mimic Martin's sort of downswing, it's sort of down over this way as opposed to more this way. Can you see the way we're a lot higher? See my trail foot? Instead of down and around, it goes more up and through. And just those sort of little feelings alone are enough for Martin to build some confidence, play better golf immediately, and it just gives him something to really focus on when he next practices, that he can go through his basics, have a look where he's going, and then get that feeling of swinging more up and through the golf ball. And it made a massive difference to him, and I'm sure it will help you guys out as well. Let me know. I'll see you soon.